College football apostles is here. It is post-Christmas, so Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Happy holidays to you, and enjoy the new year as well. We wish you guys wealth, prosperity, and enjoying some great college football content, and of course these bowl games, which everybody obviously cares about so much, right? We got to talk about that, about the destruction of the bowl game. I mean, sort of, kind of, yeah. And also, Kyle Whittingham goes to Utah. We got to talk about the fit and also what it means for the Utah Utes going forward, because they may be doomed. But they got that NIL money, so this is kind of confusing. They're in a tough spot. We got to talk about the new rivalries that have popped up because of coaching changes, transfer portal. We got to talk about the Notre Dame and USC spin machine happening. Everybody's trying to win the PR battle when everybody is actually still losing because the game is not being played. Steve Sarkisian has comments about agents, players going in the transfer portal and visiting their own school. And and we got to talk about Jeremiah Smith's what if story. And also, Chip Kelly back in the NFL. Man, that man stay with a job. We got to talk about that and so much more. Make sure that you guys like, subscribe, get notifications, and tell a friend about the show. I'm George Wrighster, former NFL player, college football analyst for CW, and on one of the fastest growing college football channels on YouTube. So make sure that you guys share. And I'm with my main man, Mr. Ralph Amsden, Rain Man himself, the man who comes with all of the knowledge that you wish you knew, but at the same time question how he even got it in the first place.
Yeah,
Ralph,
you don't know. People want to remember their kids' birthdays. They don't want 8 different years of Tony Gwynn's batting average stats memorized just to not remember when their kid was born. Like, you don't want this.
hey man, there's only so much knowledge that you can push in the brain, man. You gotta, priorities, priorities. Oh,
How was Christmas?
oh man, it was good. It was good. Family was good. Well, family was healthy. Family is safe. Family ain't always good sometimes, but it'll all work out eventually.
I feel that very very deeply, and yeah, everybody's healthy. That's you, you know it's been a year when you get down to when you get down to the end of the year, and you're like, all right, I'm thankful for health.
Well, I'm thankful for a lot of things. I'm thankful for the people who watch this channel because I will tell you, and I've had this conversation with Ralph. I had this conversation with Josh Pate as well. Like looking at the channel and the growth from this year and in the past few months, it has been. I can't even explain to you how thankful that we are and how appreciative that we are for you guys sticking around and giving us your time, because your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and I hope that we entertain, educate, and you have a good time while you guys are here.
George, I thought the only thing that you do all day every day is think about USC. They don't.
That's what people have said. All you do is talk about USC. I'm like, bro, get on the timeline. Like when have I ever only talked about USC? And it's fun, and this is related to the Notre Dame thing because USC fans are they are see, here's the thing, they are very protective of USC and of their head coach Lincoln Riley, because honestly they have no choice. Because if you're not, he's not going anywhere. There is no buyout. You just have to grasp on the hope that this 2026 class and that Danton Lynn leaving, that you get Pete Kiwatowski and this works out well. Like there's a lot of moving parts for this thing to work well. And so if I say anything that's even remotely not critical, but just an observation about USC, now all of a sudden it's, oh, see, look, he's a USC hater because they didn't offer him. USC sucked when I was coming out of high school. Nobody wanted to go to USC at that point in time. They're like, Pete Carroll, you're just mad Pete Carroll didn't recruit you. What? Pete Carroll wasn't even coaching in college football at the time. But
What?
whatever. Facts don't matter.
Have you ever had like a friend of yours who's dating somebody and you're like, "Hey, I think you deserve better," and their response is like, "You're just a hater. Like you don't want to see me thrive. You're thinking about my relationship instead of focusing on your own." Like I just made a video about how much I like the redshirt freshman offensive tackle at University of Montana. I got other things going on, but like this idea that that you just want to see USC fail, it's the opposite.
Thank you.
It's been the
Like,
opposite the entire time. Like you want to see USC succeed.
and the cold part is that especially when it comes to the Notre Dame thing, right? And I guess we'll just go into this now. Is so Notre Dame, USC are no longer playing, and then you had Lincoln Riley go up there on the podium at their bowl game, at the Alamo bowl game, and say, well, if Notre Dame had been a man of their word, essentially, that we would still be playing over the next 2 years. So let's clarify some actual facts because we like to be a factual show. Is from everything that has been reported and what I have heard behind the scenes and what we know, right? USC and Notre Dame was already scheduled, had dates set for 2026 and 2027. And those dates were the customary time after Halloween, before Thanksgiving. This is when they normally play. So for 26 and 27, USC then gets, they haven't really wanted to play for a while. You've had Lincoln Riley him hawing about, oh, I'm not sure if this will work with the schedule. Schedule's so difficult, blah blah blah. We called them out last year, and the call out was not a USC hate. It was like a, yo, you're not being you. This is not USC. Like like, and Keyshawn has even said so. Other players, they're like, this ain't the USC. We don't duck the smoke. So what more can you say to build somebody up than to say, listen, you acting out of character. You're much better than this. And they're like, no, we're not. So that's the frustrating part to me, is that you got USC fans like encouraging softness, and that's not their brand. You are the troll. They might as well throw their names on the back of the jerseys, start wearing yellow cleats and everything else if they're going to do this. So we know that those dates were set. We also know that then USC offered week 0. Okay. There are some reports that they offered week 4, but that's not the truth, because the way that, even though the Big Ten schedule hasn't been set up yet, it's already in the works. USC, because they played Notre Dame during that time, the only week available was week 0. That's it. Because they're going to have 2 Big Ten games in September, unless one of them turns out to be a bye, which you could have an early game in September, but they didn't even offer that because they're probably going to have 2 Big Ten games. And they have Louisiana and Fresno State. Those are bye games, which likely have buyouts of in excess of $1 million. So canceling those is not really ideal. So then week 0 is your only option. Notre Dame did technically say anytime, anywhere. But to play in week 0, you either have to be playing in a kickoff classic type of game or get a special exemption from the NCAA, which honestly, the NCAA would have probably granted. But Notre Dame's like, play this game week 0. That loses a lot of the gravitas surrounding the game. And I 100% get it. Ralph, I hate this with everything in my college football body.
What do you think of Lincoln Riley throwing out there casually that within 5 minutes of USC being informed that Notre Dame would not play them in week 0, that they had BYU lined up? Basically, what he's implying is they didn't want to play us. They already had BYU set up. And so they just went ahead and locked it in before they told us no.
This is media spin, bro. All they did is had a backup plan. That's what you do. If you know that somebody else is kind of teetering on the fence, you might make kind of like USC leaving the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten. So you had Oregon and Washington. Once you heard that news and that could potentially happen, then all of a sudden they're calling, making, seeing what's up with the SEC and the Big Ten and everybody else, just in case stuff doesn't go right. So that's what you
So
do.
you're saying Notre Dame was watching your videos back since May of you saying that USC probably wanted out of this thing and was going to make it more difficult than it needed to be. And they're like, well, we better have a plan in place.
Yes. Yes.
It does feel
That is
weird
no
defending
different than
Notre
putting a
Dame.
fire ladder in your house in case if you have a 2-story house and you're putting a fire ladder upstairs in your kid's room.
Do you think it's a difficult time to be defending Notre Dame when they're in the middle of doing about 15 other things as backward and wrong and annoying as you could possibly do them? But on this one thing, and you're like, well, no, but this one isolated thing is USC's fault. Do you think USC is trying to take advantage of the fact that literally everyone on earth is annoyed with Notre Dame right now?
Yes. Yes. And I'm one of them people who is annoyed with Notre Dame.
Me
They
too.
make it very easy to hate them at times. And I don't hate Notre Dame. I actually like Notre Dame. But because I was a big Rocket Ishmael fan and all of that, but
Me too.
I just didn't like. It's one of those you don't discount the messenger because I'm sorry, don't discount the message because you don't like the messenger. So Notre Dame is the right messenger on this USC Notre Dame thing. But then they've also done some things like backing out of the Pop-Tart Bowl, the whole thing with the ACC, that have completely rubbed people the wrong way, and rightfully so.
What do you think Marcus Freeman doing what the USC players were doing and announcing he's re-signing for 1 year?
I mean, he kind of did where he tweeted, run it back 2026. We didn't, outside of the reports that people were going to offer you the New York Giants job, I mean, we didn't know that this was a possibility. We didn't know that you were a free agent under contract. We had no idea. So I think the gate is getting narrow for Notre Dame. And their 2026 schedule, it is let me pull it up. Their 2026 schedule doesn't necessarily, well, it's not okay. Let's talk about this. So people bang on Notre Dame's schedule all the time, right? But I look at their schedule and I'm not upset with what they play. Like, I'm not upset about this at all. Hold on, I'm gonna put it up on the screen for the people so we can see and talk about it all at the same time. So they play in 2026. They play Wisconsin, Rice, which is comparable school to like Fresno State or Louisiana, like USC is playing. So they play a Big Ten team, a comparable team. Michigan State, Purdue. Oh, those are Big Ten teams. Huh. Interesting. Then they play North Carolina, who I believe is going to be significantly better next year because their offense should be better. Their defense was actually decent this year. Like, it was good enough. Their offense was booty cheeks. Then they play Navy. Then they play, Miami. Damn, that's a college football playoff team. Then they play another ACC team. Then they play SMU, who's a good football team, just beat Miami, who's in the college football playoff, and it's like a 9-win team this year as well. Then they play Syracuse. They stink. They play Stanford. That's a rival. Then they play BYU, who's right on the cusp of getting into the college football playoff. Ralph, this feels like Texas A&M schedule this year, except for they don't play any FCS teams.
Yeah, 10 power conference games. Rice is their warm up for a lot of other people at Southeast Missouri State. Um, and then Navy. Navy is a pain in the ass, and it always happens in the. They always win that game. Yeah, like you can pencil it in as a win every single year, but it's not like Navy isn't one of the best G6 schools over the last decade.
Yep. Yeah.
So
So
that
so
I don't have an issue with this schedule. It would look better with USC on it, but it would look better. It doesn't mean it
yeah,
would
but
be
people
better.
act like their
BYU is better
schedule
than
is
USC.
garbage. They're like, oh, their schedule is just atrocious. Oh, how could you stand for this? How could you stand for this US? They need to join a conference. They basically are in a conference. And then check this out, Ralph. Check this 2027 schedule out. Tell me how you feel about this. People talking about Notre Dame schedule, and granted, they still got to get a couple games to fill it, but they already got Purdue, Michigan State, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Clemson, and Navy. What are we doing here? What are we complaining about?
I like that a lot of the dates for 2027 are locked in, but not a lot of the dates for 2026.
Hey man, it's sticky out here in these streets, man. It is sticky. So to I've already said who I think is right and wrong in this situation. Who do you believe is right or wrong, USC or Notre Dame? When it comes to just them playing.
If they viewed this game as essential, we wouldn't have anybody in the wrong.
Mm,
The issue is that we have people who don't seem to be college football fans.
yeah.
This game, like this game, is college football.
Yes. And this is the kind of game that gives you the benefit of the doubt to get into the college football playoff. Texas A&M's best win this year was Notre Dame. Miami's best win this year was Notre Dame. Both of them teams got in the college football playoff. So maybe beating Notre Dame actually does matter.
It also like I'm definitely this is 80-20 USC's fault, but who they replace Notre Dame with,
Oh, it's going to
that's the
tell a
thing that
lot.
matters the absolute most. Yeah.
That's it right there. That is it right there. Whoever they replace Notre Dame with will show you what type of time that they're really on. All right. USC plays in their bowl game. They play in the Alamo Bowl. But honestly, and I mean this from all of my heart, I've been a college football playoff expansionist from the beginning. I am no longer an expansionist past 16. I've never been an expansionist past 16. I was an 8 guy. I'm cool with 16. I don't like 12 because I don't like buys. I think it's negative for everybody involved, negative for the teams that have buys. Um, and that their reward should be getting to play a home game on campus. I would be fine with that and staying at 12. But at the same time, I didn't expect the expanded playoff. And I know that everything has consequences. Bowl games had already been taking a big hit because of opt outs and stuff like this. But because of opt outs, coaching changes, and everything else, it's basically made these bowl games like people don't put a whole lot of stock into them, and then it gives the SEC another opportunity to be like, "Oh, we didn't really care anyway," because they're 0-3 against Power Four teams right now. But when I haven't honestly, Ralph, watched a ton of these bowl games. To be honest, I will start today because it's Tuesday, and I believe that there are some good games on today.
I watched on December 13th, and then I've checked in. That's it. If a game's on and it's close in the fourth quarter, and I love college football and I live, breathe, eat, sleep college football, but the playoff has really kind of killed the excitement of the basic bowl game. I followed all of the Pop-Tart stuff online because they've done an incredible job marketing that bowl game, but outside of that, I've seen some ideas thrown around as to how to kind of save bowl season, And I'm interested in one of the scenarios, George, running it by you, because it's very clear that college football is out to kill conference championships. So let's assume they succeed,
Okay.
because college football typically gets their way on all these things. So let call the conference championships go away. They're done. Is there any reason why we can't move the bowl schedule then up to the 2 weeks following the end of the regular season and factor the bowls into picking the college football playoff?
No, no, no. There is literally no reason why you can't do that. But that's not my favorite proposal. But I do think that that is worth like flushing out fully because if you move it up, now all of a sudden you can include that into the college football playoff selection stuff. But I think that more so that the answer is get the season over with by January 1st. Get it over with. Because then the transfer portal this year opens on the 2nd. Now players are going to play in their bowl games. Well, more are going to play in their bowl games, particularly if they're in the playoff, because Oregon has opt outs, Ohio State got opt outs, you got a bunch of teams having opt outs. So if you get it over with by January 1st, you start the season week 0. So week 0 would be week 1. And
Mm-hmm.
then, dare I say, don't have a team that played in their conference championship have 25 days off before their bowl game. Maybe 17 days. Maybe 17. Maybe 17. And then you played last week, and then you played 2 weeks ago. Then you play again, 7 to 10 days later. Then championship game on January 1st. What are we in the Rose Bowl, where it should be.
I'm fine with that too. I just figure, we you can anticipate the direction that college football is already moving. It's going to be harder and harder to find bowl sponsors when people aren't watching the bowls. If the
Yep.
diehards aren't watching the bowls, then the casuals aren't. And I'm also cool with we definitely have too many bowl games. It is what it is. But let's say that you get a top 8 spot, or you can even, if you expand the college football playoff to 16, the top 10. You lock in the top 10. The top 10 don't have to be part of any bowls at all.
Yep.
Then you have the rest of everybody playing in their bowl games uh, far before the transfer portal even opens, and you have the ability to determine who the next 6 are based on bowl performances. That
Yes.
could be a really fun element to add to it. Then you end up with 16, and you go from there. But it's, I think the Thanksgiving is a good place to end the regular season. January 1st, or maybe the second week in January, is a great place to end the the season entirely,
Yeah.
and to limit some of the burnout, to actually have the portal be something that coaches can focus on. The coaching carousel be something that everybody can focus on. Everything has its own time in place, because everything bled together this year, and it was messy and confusing and interesting.
Yes.
It was interesting. Like it's not like college football is getting less interesting, but it is getting harder to keep track of. Like there are moves that we talked about, George, like San Diego State's defensive coordinator leaving to go to Nebraska, not and then in their bowl game they give up 49 points when they had been giving up like 15 a game on the entire season. It's
And
really
they
really
blanked
messy.
Cal.
Yeah, yeah, and so everything's just a huge mess. Um, I don't know what the solution is as far as like one person being able to make decisions, but college football needs a Dana White pretty bad at this
Yes.
point, to
Yes.
just say, I don't care that you're dissatisfied. This is what's good. This is
Yes.
what's helpful.
That is what we need. We need leadership. We need a commissioner. I will volunteer as tribute because I will always do what's right for college football. Even because even a lot of the ideas that I've talked about have been anti-Oregon. People would think, oh, he's just an Oregon guy. What? No, no. I want parity. I want Vanderbilt to be able to win a national championship. I want Rutgers to be able to win. If they put in the right coach, 3 years of recruiting classes, a couple transfer portal classes, now all of a sudden you can get in the college football playoff. I want that for everybody. Because if
Right.
you
You
get
didn't love losing to Indiana this year, but it's good for college football.
100%, it is 100% good for college football. Because now, look at the Big Ten. You got Indiana, particularly if they come out and beat up Alabama. Now all of a sudden everybody's got to respect Alabama. I'm sorry, Indiana. Even if they don't win a national championship, you beat Ohio State and you beat Alabama in the same year, bro. And you beat Oregon in the same year, bro. There's nothing. They are. You got to be like, well, they're good now. And then in the Big Ten, now you got Oregon, Ohio State, who both of them teams are going to be good next year as well. Michigan, who should be good with their new head coach. Indiana's good. You got USC might be upcoming. What's going on with Nebraska? What's going on with UCLA with the builder himself, Bob Chesney? What's going to happen with Penn State with Matt Campbell? Brett Bielema over there at Illinois. Washington is getting better. If Iowa ever finds any semblance of offense, and then you got Fitzgerald over at Michigan State, bro, this is going to be a dogfight to get out of the Big Ten from now on. A dogfight.
Hell yeah, it's going to be so fun. You did bring up UCLA right now, and I didn't realize that Bob the Builder is Bob Chesney's nickname. Perhaps we can find a nickname for their new defensive coordinator. George, have you tried to pronounce this man's last name yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, give me 1 second because I am going to send you. I'm going to send you something on Twitter. I want you to just read his name for the first time out loud while we are live on this show. I want to see how you handle this.
Okay. Let me see.
Just open them Twitter DMs and let it fly.
Uh-oh. It didn't come. Okay, hold up. It's not in yet. I don't. It says it's there, but hold up. Let me do it on my computer then. Hold on.
All right.
That's weird. It's not. It's showing that there's DMs.
It's probably censored. It's probably censored.
Bro, it's showing that there's DMs, but it's not. Maybe Twitter's broken right now.
I think Twitter's trying to. Twitter is trying to.
Let me Google. Does it start out with an H?
It does.
Okay. And his first name is Colin, right?
His first name is Colin.
Colin Hitzler. Yeah. It's HITSCHLER. Oh, that's not bad. Hitzler. It just sounds a lot like Hitler, but look, yeah.
How many do you think his defense plays multiple fronts?
Wait, what?
Nothing. Let's move on. What's the next subject?
All right, so Michigan has their new head coach in Kyle Whittingham, a man that we have been talking about for years, that we have a really great interview here on the channel with, and I can't wait to get up to Michigan to interview him up there at Michigan too. Because we got all new stuff to talk about in Michigan, boy. So this man has been a constant winner at Utah. He has been a developer. This is a guy who's taken 0-star Devin Lloyd to be a first-round pick. Star Tuilete, excuse me if I butchered his name. You have, a slew of players over the course of 20 years that weren't, they just got their first 5-star kid. He's been working with a lot of 3-stars, making life hell for everybody across the Mountain West, then the Pac-12, then now the Big 12, making life hell for everybody. He's beaten Alabama. He's beaten Florida. He's beaten Oregon. He's beaten Alabama. There's a graveyard of people, especially when you got to go to the mighty Utah student section over there at Rice Eccles. We have always wondered, Ralph, what would happen if he got access to 5-star recruits. And now Utah, there's a video on the channel about Utah and what they've been able to do with their new collective effort, their private equity effort, and the $500 million. So if you want the explanation on that and why we think that that's probably going to work and help infuse Utah football, then go on the channel and go check out that. But Ralph, this could not have been a better hire for Michigan. They actually got a Michigan man, a man of integrity, because the last couple have not fit the bill at all, even though they pretended to be. And they're gonna develop the Michigan brand is gonna unlock access to recruits. As an Oregon guy, this makes me a lot more nervous than even Lincoln Riley being hired at USC. That didn't scare me.
Yeah.
This on the other hand was a little nerve-wracking.
This is the best available coach. They should feel very, very good about that. And I know they do. Maybe not at first, but Michigan fans are as good as any fan base in America at convincing themselves that they did the right thing, falling in line and getting behind the head man in charge. Michigan fans have been uniquely annoying online for the last month, and they've kind of had to be. They were put in a really tough spot by the previous head coach, and they've had a lot going on, and they've had to defend themselves from everybody at all times. So they're highly, highly paranoid. They also haven't been in a position to really hire a head coach in a very long time. So, it was confusing as an Arizona State guy to have them come in and be like, give me that. We could have had him if we wanted to. Like, no, you could not have. That was never an option. It was never a thing. They're not everybody is available to you all the time. But at the end of the day, you got the best available coach. And I remember a few days ago, the Barstool account said, "Hey, we got ourselves an elite recruiter," and that made me laugh because Kyle Whittingham. It's hard to get guys to Salt Lake. You know this. You went on a visit with your son to Salt Lake. Like, as a black man with a black son, there's some decisions that need to be made when you're in that position. I talked to Jaden Daniels' mom about why she didn't go take her son to USC, why she didn't take her son to Utah.
Yeah.
And it was like that there's not necessarily the history that we want there to be here for somebody who looks and plays like my son to be ultimately successful. They could think that there's other reasons involved all they want. That's just from a conversation I had with her on the sideline at ASU practice one time. So, it was not always easy to get athletes to Salt Lake. And so the two major weaknesses for Utah over the last 15 years have been, number one, getting the best available talent to Salt Lake City, convincing them to go there, because only 16% of the guys that Kyle Whittingham has gotten to the NFL in the last 10 seasons have been 4-star or above. And a 4-star is somebody who is projected to go to the NFL. So that means 84% were not projected by the ratings agencies to get to that NFL. That's incredible. The 2017 year alone, the 2017 NFL draft class out of Utah that had 8 players, is the greatest example of development in college football history. I will stand by that. I think it's completely factual. And he did an incredible job. Well, I'll get to that in a second. The other thing was depth.
Yeah.
They were very good in the Pac-12, but they ran out of gas. And if you want, there's no better example of this. If you pull up his career head coaching record, a lot of that the initial time was spent in the Mountain West, right? So
yes,
in the Mountain West era, they had double-digit wins 3 times, and he went 7-1 in bowls at the end of the season. In the Pac-12 era, he actually hasn't won a bowl since 2017. At the end of every season. Yeah. At the end of every season, they are beat to hell. They have running backs playing corner. They
Yes,
have
they are
they're on their
super injured a lot.
yeah. So one of the things I think it solves for him is depth issues because with the physicality that they play with, Michigan is going to have guys that you can go to at the end of the season to fill that role and not have a major drop off. So I think that that's incredibly exciting and access to better players. So he's going to get the two things that have maybe been his weakness at Utah, and we could be seeing an all-time run come out of the Michigan Wolverines, where I wonder, and I think it's fair to wonder, even though Michigan fans in my mentions have been telling me I'm the biggest moron on earth, is can you take a developer and put them in a position where they are getting high-end talent that don't necessarily need to be developed, that have a million other options if they want to transfer out, and can you get that system down to about 2 to 3 years? Because the floor is higher, so you're getting a guy who essentially comes in maybe at year 3 where you get them to at Utah. But they're not going to be around 4 to 5 years. Michigan does have some guys that stick around that long. They got 3-4 stars and or above that are fifth-year players, I think, on this year's roster. But, you know, is he going to be able to have access to the roster for the amount of time he needs to do what he's going to do? Are Michigan
See, you got
fans
to
going to be
remember.
patient?
See, here's the part that you're missing out on too is that 4 and 5 star players typically take less time to develop. So he
Yes.
doesn't. So his development plan can now get expedited.
Or is it obsolete? Because if you look at guys like Lecky Fotu or guys like JJ Dielman, both two, Lecky Fotu was a 2-star, JJ Dielman was a 3-star. He put 100 pounds on both of those guys.
Oh, so you're saying that the thing that made it great, now you don't have time to do that. So now does that nerf his superpower?
Or does he just not need his superpower in this environment?
That's a
Because
good point. Oh, speaking of his
not
superpower, right?
non-applicable isn't a weakness. Non-applicable could just mean he could focus on other things.
Okay. There is an On3 report that I was reading that popped up on my phone. Oh, sorry, Rivals. Other programs could circle back on elite on five-star quarterback BYU signee Ryder Lyons once he returns from his mission trip. Guess who one of those schools is? It
Are
is
you serious?
Michigan. Michigan. Where else do you think? People don't realize where he was probably going to go if it wasn't BYU.
He's a Cali guy, right?
Yeah, but he was going to go to Oregon. So
Oh, really? Okay.
Michigan, Oregon, and where did Oregon's OC go?
Kentucky, right?
Yep. Those are the 3 schools.
That's interesting. So can we ask a question maybe that's a little sensitive for Utah fans right now because they had a
Okay.
coach who's been there for 30 years just leave to go to Michigan. They thought he was retiring. That's not necessarily the message that we're getting. That and I don't think anybody's at fault here because when Ty Jordan accidentally shot himself and passed away,
Yeah.
I think it put Kyle Whittingham in a place, and that wasn't the only player that they had pass away that year. It put Kyle Whittingham in a place where he wasn't 100% sure if he could put his whole self into this, and he went into this year over year thing where it was like, I'll see if I can coach this year. I'll see if I can coach this year. And it feels like there's people behind the scenes at Utah that just said, okay, Kyle, we're going to make that decision for you. We
Yes.
appreciate you. We love you for everything that you did, but we don't want to be held hostage by you not knowing if you have a long-term commitment to us. I feel like if he did, then Morgan Scalley would have turned around and maybe taken one of these other jobs that could have been
Oh, for
available to
sure.
him.
For sure.
So for they're making this move for the future. Morgan Scalley is fascinating because he has never been anywhere else ever. Not as a student, not as a GA, not as a position coach, not as a DC, and now not as a head coach. He is the most Utah man that ever existed on earth.
I mean, that's very Brian Hartline-ish, right?
Well, until now.
Yeah.
So if you're expecting to move into this new era with somebody who is the most Utah man of all time, you got to do something with Kyle Whittingham. And I was told that they were going to pay his contract, they were going to pay his grandkids' tuition. All they wanted him was to be around in sort of a support role,
Yeah.
stick around in Salt Lake City. And he wasn't done. He wants to
Yep.
win a natty.
Dude, it's funny. I was getting ready to bring up Kalani Sataki, but then I forgot, dude. He actually had 2 stints outside of Utah. He was at Eastern Arizona as a DB coach and special teams coach, and then he was at Oregon State for 1 year in 2015. Outside of that, he's been in the state of Utah from 2001. Well, actually, going back prior to that, where his starting in 94 goes to BYU, but then has a mission. 97 to 2000 played at BYU. Then he goes to the Cincinnati Bengals. So he stepped foot out of Utah a couple of times, but it wasn't for very long.
Dude, can you imagine how pissed off that whole state would be if Penn State had been successful and they lose Sataki and Whittingham in the same year?
Well, actually, Whittingham might have ended up at Utah then.
Or at BYU?
Yes.
That would have been fascinating.
Where he went to school. That'd be crazy.
So I have one question for you and one
Okay.
point to make. I'll make my point first. I know that there's some Utah fans that are sore about the fact that Morgan Scalley is going to have to turn around and probably hire a new offensive coordinator, right?
Yep.
Well, did you want Morgan Scalley to be the Utah head coach or not? Because a big part of being the Utah head coach is finding a new offensive coordinator.
Yes, because
every
that's what
couple
they
of
do
years.
regularly. Yep.
Yeah, so you might as well just jump in the deep end. And then for you, George, do you think there's any possibility here that this ends up being something that gets messy? That creates kind of a sore spot between Utah fans and Kyle Whittingham?
Definitely will, depending on how many coaches leave and how many players hop in the portal. Because you just had one of their best, defensive linemen. He got hurt this year, but he'll be back ready for next year. He just hopped in the portal. He had 11 and a half sacks last time he played. So that is a big deal. So, yeah, I definitely think that there's going to be some tension depending on who gets poached.
And how much patience should we have for Morgan Scalley?
A learning year, recruiting, building. I say by year 3, he needs to be making significant strides. Like top 3, if he's not finishing top 3 in the Big 12 in year 3, it's a problem.
If the Utah fans have 3 years of patience in them, God bless them.
Yeah. No, but you can't be terrible. Like I'm talking about, because they're going to lose a bunch of players this year, some coaches. I'll give them 8-4, 7-5 next year, and then the year after that, 9 wins. Then after that, we got to be flirting with the playoff, flirting with it. We don't have to get in, but we got to flirt.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of the Michigan-Utah rivalry, there are some interesting rivalries that are being formed that we didn't even expect. There's the LSU Ole Miss because of Lane Kiffin. Like that is creating something, and especially if Ole Miss wins, Lord have mercy. Like wins that game when they play. Oh, it's just gonna be sweet, and then it's gonna get nasty. BYU and Notre Dame creating a thing. Love it because they're gonna be playing now. Yeah, Notre Dame and USC, whenever they play again, is going to be hostile. There's going to be Cal and Kentucky are going to try to beef with Oregon, but actually Kentucky not so much, but more Cal and Oregon because Tosh is going to want to, there's already some rubbing because of how many coaches that he's taken from Oregon and maybe some players. But I get it. He feels entitled to some of it. He's like, I brought a lot of these dudes here. I got a lot of these recruits here. So, But yeah, so the rivalries because of the coaches and players transferring, I love it. It only makes college football better because it creates a rivalry somewhere that it normally takes decades to create.
I'm with you. Like if you want to know how healthy college football is despite its leadership trying to kill it off, all you got to do is hop online and see how active some of these fans get because the Ole Miss fans are on Lane Kiffin's ass.
Yep, they on his
He
ass
can't
like
do
back pockets.
yeah. And he, he likes it in a weird way. He likes it.
Yeah,
I'm I'm kind of concerned about the dude, uh, being honest, because Lane Kiffin is online. He knows what his mentions say. He knows what his mentions look like.
he
He
knows how much
knows that
money he
every single
makes.
yes, but he knows every single time if he posts a photo of him with like young co-eds, he knows what's in the replies,
Yeah,
right? He knows how wild it gets in the replies. Well, the other day he posts a photo of his sister-in-law and his niece. And guess what the comments were? They were what they always are. And then
yes,
he's telling Miss fans to calm down. Like, buddy, what are you putting your niece online for? You know,
you
you
know what's
know.
gonna happen.
Yeah, like
Man, he
stop.
might be prepared for a reality show for them or something. Keeping up with the
Yeah,
Kiffins.
maybe, man. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the rising tide that lifts all boats. Is his infamy results in that for all the women in his life. But I would say for right now, like maybe keep them away from the wolves that you stirred up in the first
The
place.
wolves
Like,
that you've been throwing food to
yeah,
over the
like
fence.
you got tens of thousands of people mad online. You're going to post a picture of your niece.
Yeah.
Let's not like, and so, but it just goes to show, like, and the LSU fans that are defending him, they're doing their job. That game is already circled on the calendar. September is going to be crazy. BYU and Notre Dame. Oh my God, are they getting after it?
Are you serious already?
Oh my goodness! Because it was one thing that they scheduled the game, which kind of gave them an avenue to talk trash. And BYU fans are elite trash talkers, and they do it, and they're nice about it too. Not really, but they, they're
Yeah.
they're they're polite in a very cutting way. And then you had BYU win the bowl game that Notre Dame opted out of, and so you're just got BYU fans just pressing the screws to these Notre Dame fans that were saying like they'd be embarrassed to see their head coach eat a Pop-Tart without leaving any crumbs. So and, and so like that one's crazy. Basically every fan base that Michigan has ever interacted with is ready to fight them to the death. And so, I love it. It's sometimes you walk in the room and everything's on fire, but I mean,
It's
for the
like that
fact that
everything's fine meme where like the fire's going to, everything's fine.
everything's great actually, like this is the fire is a good thing, the passion's a good thing, but the fact that this is happening in late December with a bunch of teams that aren't even in the mix for national title, this is the best sport in the world.
Never sleeps,
Can't deny
never
it.
sleeps. And I love it. Speaking of that, Steve Sarkisian, he is not happy, bro. He is not sleeping. He is not resting. So now that he no longer, his begging to get in the college football playoff is no longer relevant. He had to
Yeah.
pivot. And this time it's about NIL and the transfer portal and, just acquiring players, high school players and all that stuff. And about agents. Now, framed that in a way like I don't agree with him, but I 100% agree with Sark talking about agents and how they are and how a lot of these guys are not qualified
Yeah.
and that this is their first time negotiating somebody's deal and it makes it increasingly difficult. He said there are some agents that are rational and there are some that are this is their first time ever get to be an agent. I don't even know if they're licensed. We can't even deal with this. Now, this is 100% correct. I could not be mad at Sark for this at all because when you are a professional, right? When you are a professional and you have to deal with unprofessional people, that makes it very difficult because there's an order of doing business. And they don't know what should be in contracts, what can be, what can't be. Like you have to teach and play at the same time. So you're trying to negotiate with them, but then also give yourself favorable terms, but don't screw the player. So then later on, the player's not like, yo, you screwed me with this contract, and then say that to other people. And then that makes other people squeamish to commit to you. So you're actually acting sort of as a fiduciary to the player while trying to take care of your own interests at the same time. This is a disaster, and there needs to be some sort of standardized representation agreements, because I've heard of kids getting given up to 20% of their NIL. Well, sorry, of their not of their NIL, because their NIL is separate. And if somebody gets you a deal with Coke or Pepsi or Rocket or anybody else, that is in the real world a 15 to 20% take. Like that's normal. Well, actually 10 to 20% take. That is 100% normal. But in of your contract, of your pay for play money, that should be no more than 3%,
I agree with you, and
which is
I don't
what
know
the
who's going to
NFL
hear
has
this,
it set as.
and I don't know who's going to hear this, but if you got an uncle who's never set foot on a college campus except to bring his 14U7s team to a photo shoot, and you got an uncle who the only reading he's ever done is a Cheesecake Factory menu, you're gonna get yourself into some type of agreement that's not good for you, and you're gonna create animosity where there doesn't need to be any. You don't
Yep.
need to hold these colleges hostage. They're all friendly, all looking to do something life changing for you. You don't have to play everybody off each other for the scrap at the very end, right? So
Yep.
and you also don't want to end up signing a contract that says that they could chase you for everything, even what they've already paid you, if you don't fulfill 100% of the terms of what it is you're engaging in. So you got to be really careful in who represents you. That being said, it's not like SEC coaches haven't been dealing with wild uncles this entire time.
Yes.
Um, the thing that Sark said that I did kind of get a kick out of was when he said, I'm probably going to be on the phone with an agent later today, and he's going to tell me we're looking for this much, and I'm going to tell him, like, good luck. If you don't get it, call us back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they just had Trey Wisner jump in the portal, right? Like there
Yep.
might be some seriously unfair expectations. At the same time, Texas is outbidding people for recruits. Like they're playing this game. They're the ones who
Oh,
set the
and all
market for
these
alignment.
coaches just you got Matt Rule just got a new deal. Kalen DeBoer is getting ready to get a new deal. All of these people under contract are going to be getting a new deal. So now we're going to blame the players when the coaches are the leaders and they set the example for how this works.
That is correct. And Sark pre-tax makes $33,000 a day, every day,
Yeah.
year round. So, you know, but Texas set the market for offensive linemen. They're the ones who started paying like, 100K.
Yeah.
It's way higher than that now, but, they have money. It is interesting to listen to the haves complain about caviar problems. Sark's definitely not somebody I feel sorry for. He's paid very handsomely to deal with the stress that he's dealing with.
Yep.
But I think he makes a really important point about the unscrupulous nature of some of the representation of these kids. We also need to protect these kids by getting them multi-year deals, because
Yes.
schools are looking to boot out anybody that they can. A school should have an allegiance to somebody through a coaching transition, through a position coach transition. There should be some protection for the prospects, including not having an agent that talks them into a portal every single year because the agent doesn't get paid if they don't transfer.
Mm. Yep. Exactly. No, that is a very, very fair point. All right, now the next thing up. Speaking of transfer portal players, there is a player who is in the transfer portal. What's the name? Grant Segrin, offensive
Yeah.
offensive lineman at Oklahoma State, Hayes Fawcett Graphics. Shout out Hayes, who does a really good job, and he has parlayed making graphics into working at On3. Love to see it. So this young man has they put out a visiting, like what schools he's gonna visit. He was at Oklahoma State last year. Actually, I'll just put the graphic up the way you guys can see. The way it's fun. He's visiting Auburn, which is a fantastic place to play football. Alex Golish, new head coach. Everything's good. Visiting Northwestern. That means his grades are good. um, quality college football program, good for offensive linemen. They play hard, they play tough. Arkansas, Ryan Silverfield, new head coach. Not mad at that. Oklahoma State. Why are we visiting? Can't we just like sit down with the new head coach Eric Morris and from North Texas and just have a discussion? Is this a visit, or is this just saying Oklahoma State's not out of the running? Like I'm potentially open to coming back.
I guess they said he's going to get together with the group of transfers that they plan on bringing in to see how he meshes and gels with a lot of them. This is very funny. Like, this is a situation you never want to be in as a dad. You never want to be visiting your own house.
Yes. Ooh.
Things have gone terribly wrong if you're on a supervised visit to your own home.
You ain't lied about that, buddy. You have not lied about that at all. Jesus Christ.
What's worse, this visiting your own school, having it be on a graphic when you're in the transfer portal that you're visiting your own school, or re-signing 1-year deals when you were never up for grabs in the first place, like we've seen at USC?
I would probably say re-signing at USC. Like that, it just feels like you're creating a culture of like renegotiation every single year, and you're putting it on Front Street. So I think that is a question all by itself.
That's a good point. I love it for the idea of like getting somebody's name out there to make them a more valuable commodity. But if you do it for everybody, nobody's special.
That's a fact, Jack. That is a fact.
So we got another interesting thing playing out on social media that is fascinating to me. Clemson, a team and coach you love, I love. We thought great things are going to happen for them this year. It did not turn out that way. They actually finished with a losing record on the season at 6-7 after a bowl loss. But I've never seen this before, ever. And maybe it's happened before, and Clemson fans can educate us. But having somebody who spent 4 years at Clemson take a shot at the program on the way out is new territory for me. And they had a running back hit the portal. His name's Keith Adams Jr. He's actually from Utah.
Yeah.
He said, I was not used in the right way at my previous school, Clemson, and have proven multiple times that I am worthy to play. I have 1 more year of eligibility, and I plan on making a huge impact wherever I go. I guarantee I'll be the hardest running back to tackle in college football. And then he was forced to kind of tweet out practice and scrimmage highlights because he only has 42 carries in 4 years at Clemson. They just fired their offensive coordinator, Lincoln Riley's brother. Like they did not run the ball well, and
atrociously. It was horrendous on film. It was, when you're watching the all 22, you're like, I don't. They're not accounting for people who are in the box. It was horrible. It was horrendous.
And he's saying, and I think he clarified, ultimately said, like, no disrespect to Dabo, but when you've never seen anybody break ranks like that.
But you hired coaches that didn't use me correctly. So, okay, so when I interviewed Dabo, and you were there as well, one of the things he said to us was that people don't say bad things about Clemson in the house. It's outside the house, right?
Yeah.
He's technically outside the house now. And sometimes for players, I can understand it can be highly frustrating when you don't get the opportunity that you feel like that you can do something. So I'm not taking this as a. I feel like this is a kid who's upset, but also wants to show like, yo, I'm really about that life. I wasn't used properly. I got gas, and I'm not mad at that. Like, if I were Dabo, this wouldn't upset me, not even the slightest. I'd be like, listen, kid, I wish you well. It didn't work out here. You probably have your degree already since you only have 1 year eligibility left. And I hope it works out for you. That
Eh,
that would be it. Cause that feels like Dabo's actual approach to it. That above anything, he would want this kid to have his degree and go have a great life and thrive in football if that's in the cards for him.
what would you do because this is an interesting post from Keith Adams. Uh, he is projecting himself as having been worthy of playing at Clemson.
Yeah.
So the market's going to speak as to whether there's interest or not. Do you think he's somebody who should be looking for a power conference to play at
Mm,
in order to justify how he feels about himself?
see,
Or should somebody with 1 year left be looking to get the rock?
I think somebody should be looking to get the rock. And you have to be like, okay, one of the things that people don't always realize is that for a player to be successful, you do have to have some coach advocacy. That the coach has to be not just in your corner, because at some point in time, everybody needs the benefit of the doubt. Look at Jamar Chase when he first got to the Bengals. He couldn't catch a cold. He couldn't play dead. And then all of a sudden they kept giving him the opportunity. Soon as season started, he catching everything because they kept the belief in him. And every player at some point in time needs a coach to be like, I know this was a bad day, but I'm gonna stick with him today. Steph Curry needed it at Davidson after his first game, and then all of a sudden it was over after that. Imagine if his coach had put him on the bench. It and this kid may just need some advocacy in his life, and hopefully he gets that wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for him. He gave Clemson 4 years. He got 1 year of eligibility. Why would you root against somebody like this?
Yeah.
He wants to prove himself. I hope Clemson fans feel the same way. I hope they look at him as a tiger for life, for what it's worth.
Yep. Last thing up, Jeremiah Smith's what if? Because he was asked if Miami was having the success that they have now, because he's from Miami, he's from Florida, would he have gone to Miami, or well, would he have considered Miami instead of going to Ohio State? And he essentially said yes. Yes, I would have. Because I'd have had a chance to stay home, blah, blah, blah. And I think that this presents a interesting dynamic because on one hand, I don't necessarily believe that that's true because Ohio State's put out so many wide receivers into the NFL that it's hard to turn that down if you're a 5-star and they wanted you with Brian Hartline. Hard to turn that down because if you go there and start, you're gonna be a first round pick. And Miami, granted, that's home, but I do think that he's serious about them actually have been a factor in his recruitment. I do, and I do think that that's why it's important to be to have hope and to consistently be putting out a product that people can be proud of, because then you can sell to the number one recruit in the nation like, yo, I know we haven't like if you were like if the number one recruit was coming out of the state of Utah, right? And you're BYU, you can be like, yo, you can come be a part of this. You see how close we are. Players like you and y'all link up with two other kids, and then we get a couple more. This will be the class that takes us to the national championship. You can sell that. You don't want to try to be selling a 2, 3, 4 year plan. You need to be selling this could happen next year.
I love this type of stuff because it obviously didn't happen, but it provides this like alternate universe in college football, like the college football multiverse, right? We talked on our last show about you possibly playing for University of Arizona or UCLA out of high school,
Yeah.
and you get this sliding doors moment of what could have been. And every single college football team out there has that recruit that just got away, or the quarterbacks that didn't do well for them but went somewhere else and blew up. Like we just watched Texas A&M go to the college football playoff with Marcel Reed, but Connor Weigman had a 10-win season, and Haynes King was one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and they had both those guys at Texas A&M. So you get this crazy kind of what if scenario. Cal had to watch it with Fernando Mendoza, but it's the stuff that never happened that could have, that I think just consumes college football fans, of like the recruit you almost got right.
Yes.
And
Like
I
if
don't know who
Oregon
that
gets
is for,
JT Tuimoloau, and then
or
what?
Tua.
Yeah.
Or Mark Helfrich blew that. They could have had Tua.
Yep. But
And what does that mean?
but
Yeah.
also they messed up the Manziel thing and got Mariota.
Yeah. It's funny. It's always funny how that works out, how there's always a tomorrow no matter what. And
Yep.
I love stuff like this. And thinking about Jeremiah Smith as a Miami Hurricane, they got a rich enough history to where it's not going to bother him too much. But if he
Yeah.
goes off in this game, that those comments are going to sting just a little bit, I think.
Right about that. Right about that. But you guys, we have college football bowl game. Well, actually, today's slate is pretty damn good. We have the early game is Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Tech. Then we got Tennessee, Illinois. I will be watching this today, and USC, TCU. But Hoover is not even at TCU anymore, so that could get tricky. So I'm actually excited to see some of these, but they could get turned off early. But you guys enjoyed the college football. Oh, Ralph, let's do this because there are 4 college football playoff games. We'll go
Okay.
real quick, starting with the one tomorrow, Miami, Ohio State. Ohio State, I think, is favored by 9.5. Oh, wait. Damn it, I forgot.
It was
Ohio
9.5.
State.
It opened at 9.5.
Yeah. They're favored by 9.5. Who wins this football game? Because Miami's, I mean, like you look at the lines and you're like, ooh, Miami might have a shot because they probably have the better offensive line, even though that they don't run the ball quite as well. They have the better defensive line probably too. Even though Ohio, I mean, like saying that they're better is like saying, do you want Carmelo Anthony or Dwayne Wade? It's like that. So,
Yeah.
who wins this football game?
I think you run into a situation where the recipe is such that all of one particular player's flaws could be on display in the same game. And so I'm not going to say that player's name out loud because I think plenty of people will be saying his name once this game ends, but I'd like Ohio State to cover.
Hey, I definitely think that that's probably the most likely outcome. I do think that both of these defenses are really good. I just, if you're asking me who do I trust more, Julian saying to not have multiple turnovers, or Carson Beck to not have multiple turnovers, I'm gonna take Julian saying.
Same.
All right, we got Alabama, Indiana, 6.5 points, I believe. Who you got in this game? Because I got
It is
Indiana
not.
smackdown.
Yeah, I'm with you. It is not the time of year to be one dimensional.
No.
Or, yeah, like truly one dimensional.
Yes. Yes. This might as well be an air
I'm
raid
with you.
team. This might as well be an air raid team. Actually, air raid
Yeah.
teams at times run the ball better than Alabama does.
I do hope that it doesn't, like, and I don't even know if Indiana has this capability. I guess we'll find out. But every once in a while, when Indiana gets out in front of somebody, the way they step on necks is unbelievable. And if that were to happen in a college football playoff game against Alabama, where Kurt Signetti used to coach, that's everybody on notice. That's
Yes.
Indiana going from not just one seed, but college football playoff favorite.
Yep. All right. Ole Miss, Georgia. Right. Ole Miss sounds like a good story, but Trinidad Chambliss already said he's hopping in the portal. You got guys half in, half out. Some of them going to LSU. This could be a tricky situation. I'm taking Georgia, and for them to line them up and just run them over. Now, mind you, Ole Miss was ahead in the fourth quarter against Georgia, and Chambliss and this team fell apart. I think that Georgia's playing better. They're improved on defense. They got coverage that this could get nasty.
I agree with you 100%. Chambliss pretty much carried them the last time around in this game. Um, he had, I think he was responsible for 5 touchdowns. Georgia didn't let Kwan Lacey do anything.
Yep.
And it's the only time all year where Kwan Lacey didn't look like a superstar. It's probably the only reason why he wasn't in Heisman conversation was that Georgia game. So, and the thing you have to remember about Georgia is they had to kick 3 field goals because they mismanaged a couple of their drives. That game where they came back from down 11 in the fourth quarter probably should have been closer to a 20 to 24 point Georgia win. I think that's probably what we see this time around. It's been an incredible story for this offense. Ole Miss defense has actually been generating turnovers, so maybe they make a big play. But yeah, Georgia with time to plan, that's scary.
Yep. Oregon, Texas Tech. This line has ballooned up, Ralph, from 1.5 to 2.5. There's a whole preview on these games on the channel, so you guys can check those out. Ralph, I'm torn on who I'm gonna take. I think I'm gonna take the Ducks though. Actually,
I like
I'm joking.
Oregon
I'm not
too.
torn at all. I'm not torn at all.
Yeah, I know. I like Oregon too for the simple reason that they're going to be at home. And the nastiest thing about this Texas Tech thing, the team, the thing they do better than anybody, is something that Oregon's offensive line actually can neutralize to a certain extent. So I think as long as Dante Moore is upright and healthy and takes the yards in front of him when they are available, this is going to be an Oregon win. I have a question for you, George. Is Austin Novosad even available? What's the
no?
Let's say. Okay, so what happens if Dante Moore
hold on.
takes a big hit?
I do not know. He actually might be available, but
This is
he's
one
not the
team where it's
backup.
important to know who your back. Oh, who
He's
is
not
okay?
Even the backup. Brock Thomas is the backup.
Okay, then that would be it. You might even got to get a package in for Luke Moga just to run. Like you got to run against this Texas Tech team because they're gonna collapse the edges of that pocket. You take 2 to 3 yards, hopefully not take too big of a hit. This is a nasty, nasty D line. Sometimes that's enough to win a Super Bowl. We'll see if it's enough to win a college football playoff. But I like Oregon as well.
Yeah. All right, you guys. That is college football apostles. The last one of 2025. We will be back next year, which is next week. So you guys make sure you guys keep it locked. Peace out. Catch you guys later.